Hi, good morning everybody. I'm going to do some story mapping today for our version of Flotsam. Now yours might be called Flotsam or Junk or one of the other ideas that I shared yesterday. We've got box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4 and box 5. If you can print this off, makes your life a bit easier, but if you can't, don't worry. I've just drawn lines and I've put box 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so I've made my own sheet. I'm going to start off with box 1 and I'd like you to join in with your own version. I'll be writing about Fran, but I know your main character isn't called Fran, so have a think about who you chose. And we'll do box 1 to start with, which is the introduction. That's where the main character is walking around somewhere and has a bit of it. We just get introduced to the main character. You can pause the video anytime to allow yourself to catch up. All right, I'm starting with Fran, and Fran is at the rock pools. So Fran, here she is. Fran stared at the strange creature in the water. Full stop. And then I could describe the strange creature. Now think about yours. You might not be in the water. You might be on the sugarcane plantation. You might be at the park. What's Fran doing at the start? One straightforward sentence. Fran stared at the strange creature in the water. Going to describe the strange creature. It had sharp claws, beady eyes, with a comma in a list, and lots of legs. Full stop. Then a bit more about Fran. Fran was a curious child and she loved looking at animals. Full stop. I'm going to go through this box again to give you time to catch up. Remember, you can pause the video anytime you like. Fran stared at the strange creature in the water. Full stop. It had sharp claws, comma, beady eyes, and lots of legs. Full stop. Fran was a curious child. I'm going to draw some question marks to remind me that she's curious. Fran was a curious child, and she loved to look at animals. And she asked herself a question. What else can I find in the rock pools? She wondered to herself. Full stop. She grabbed her fishing net and her bucket and walked to the next rock pool. Full stop. What's your main character going to grab in your story? I'm going to go through box 1 again. Fran stared at the strange creature in the water. Full stop. It had sharp claws, comma, beady eyes, and lots of legs. Full stop. Fran was a curious child and she loved to look at animals. Full stop. What else can I find in the rock pools? She wondered to herself. Full stop. She quickly, an adverb, yeah, quickly grabbed her fishing net and her bucket and went to the next rock pool. Full stop. I'm ready for box 2. If you're not ready for box 2, finish your box 1. Box 2 is when Fran, or your main character, is looking at something, but then suddenly she sees a mysterious box lying in the sand, soil, under something, in the water, wherever your main character is. She was busy looking into the clear water when suddenly she fell in. Splash! She was busy looking into the clear water when suddenly she slipped and fell in. Ooh, suddenly, adverb, suddenly. Yes. Fran was busy looking into the clear water when suddenly she slipped and fell in. Splash! What was that in the water? I'm going to put my question mark after my picture of the water so I remember. What was that in the water? Question mark. A mysterious box! Exclamation mark. Fran picked up the box and looked at it carefully. Oh, carefully! Carefully. Yes, adverb. Full stop. It was an underwater camera. He asked everyone on the beach, but they didn't know who it belonged to. Oh, didn't. I've used didn't there. Thumbs up for didn't. Full stop. When she opened it, how do I do open? Like this. Open. When she opened it, she found an old film case. Full stop. Oh, I'm going to have to go on to the next line down here. Did you leave enough space? I'm lucky that I did. She rushed excitedly, or she raced excitedly to a photo shop. Here's my picture of a shop. To have the pictures developed. Full stop. What would she find in the photos? I'm going to go through that again so that you've got an extra chance to think about your story. Think about how she's going to find, or he's going to find, the underwater camera. Which adverbs are you going to remember to use? Fran was busy looking into the clear water when suddenly she slipped into the rock pool. Splash! Exclamation mark. What was that in the water? It was an underwater camera. Fran looked at it carefully. Full stop. She asked other people on the beach, or she asked her mum and dad, but they didn't know who it belonged to. Full stop. When she opened the camera, she found an old film case. Full stop. She rushed excitedly to a photo shop to have the pictures developed. Full stop. What would she find in the photos? Full stop. If I've gone too quickly for you, you can pause, you can rewind, you can listen to my lovely story mapping again. Box 3 is the super important box. This is the mysterious and exciting part of our story. I'm ready for box 3. She waited patiently. I'm drawing a watch to remember that. She waited patiently. Why? In the real story, it was a very chatty woman. What's it going to be in your story? In mine, I'm going to stick with the chatty woman, I think. She waited patiently for a very chatty woman to finish the pictures. Full stop. When she finally saw them, she was amazed. Here's an amazed face. Oh, no way. Full stop. Exclamation mark. Oops. And this is the part that we looked at yesterday. If you nailed it yesterday, you can use exactly the same writing in your story map. I'm thinking about my examples. And I had a red clockwork fish. I stuck with that. So in one photo, a red clockwork fish. I'm going to put a box around this so I know it's a photo. In one photo, a red clockwork fish was swimming. Nice. Was swimming calmly. I'm going to put a smile on his face so we know he's calm. In one photo, a red clockwork, clock on him, fish was swimming calmly. Full stop. In other pictures, I'm going to draw some pictures. In other pictures, a mermaid was brushing. Here's a brush. Her beautiful hair, comma. A tiny man was racing a seahorse. I do apologise for my seahorse picture, but, you know, it's my story map. I know what it is. And two swordfish were fighting. Ting, 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 ting. Little tail. Angrily. Got my adverb in there. Full stop. Okay, back to the beginning of this box. Remember, this part is your ideas. Fran waited patiently for a very chatty woman to finish the pictures. Full stop. When she saw the pictures, she was amazed! Exclamation mark. In the first photo, or in one picture, a red clockwork fish was swimming calmly. Full stop. In other pictures, a mermaid was brushing her hair. her beautiful hair. A tiny man was racing a seahorse, and two swordfish were fighting angrily. In another photo, or in one photo, two hammerhead sharks were playing a game of waterproof cards. Now, I won't do as good a picture as the person who came up with this idea. I'm trying to draw my hammerhead sharks, and they are not easy. Well done, whoever came up with this idea. They're playing waterproof cards. Quietly. Let's go back to the beginning of this box. Sam waited patiently for the woman to finish the pictures. Full stop. Or Fran. When she saw the pictures, she was amazed! Exclamation mark. In one photo, a red clockwork fish was swimming calmly. Full stop. In other pictures, a mermaid was brushing her beautiful hair, comma. A tiny man was racing a seahorse. And two swordfish were fighting angrily. In another photo, two hammerhead sharks were playing a waterproof game of cards quietly. Full stop. Fran couldn't believe her eyes. The camera had captured secrets of the deep that people hadn't ever seen before. Here it is. The camera had captured secrets of the deep, that means underwater, that people hadn't ever seen before. Full stop. The camera had captured secrets of the deep that people hadn't ever seen before. Ready for box 4. Super story map so far, with lots of my own ideas, commas in a list, adverbs in there. It's going to be really helpful when I write it next week. What's this? There were pictures of people in the photos. Full stop. What's this? There were pictures of people in the photos. Fran looked closely. There she is, looking closely. I'm glad Fran's not a real person, because I don't think anybody wants to look like this. But I know that that's a picture of Fran, so it doesn't matter. Fran looked even more closely. There were lots and lots of people, and each person was holding a picture. Full stop. Fran, what's another word for looked? Stared, I could use stared. Peered. I'm going to write that one down. Peered carefully, adverb, excellent. Through her, it's a microscope in the real, but I'm going to use a magnifying glass on this one. Through her magnifying glass, so she could see more detail. Full stop. The photos went back in time to the very first owner of the camera. Full stop. Fran saw a black and white photograph. Black and white photograph. Oh, that's not a very good picture of a photograph. What did I do? Oh, it's got a little box underneath. That's why. Here we go. A black and white photograph of a small boy standing on the beach. Now, who's going to be the person in yours? Up to you. Could be a small girl, could be a small boy, could be a man, could be a family. He was smiling. Oh, there's that was-ing. He was smiling kindly and waving to the camera. Hello. Full stop. Nice short box that, and the next one's even shorter. Fran thought quietly to herself. Here's Fran. Here she is thinking. Quietly. Fran thought quietly to herself. Full stop. She suddenly knew what she had to do. Here's a light bulb over her head. Ding! An idea. She suddenly knew what she had to do. She lay down and click! She took the camera. Oop, I've got an exclamation mark. I don't need a full stop. She took the camera. Now she found it in the rock pools. She's going to drop it in the river so it flows back to the sea. She took the camera, walked to the river, and threw it gently in. Gently. she watched as it floated back to sea. Full stop. You could finish with, what adventures would the Misty